This is the lecture version of the extra credit PSA assignment. The full version is on Blackboard. You should read through all of that before you begin the assignment. The PSA analysis has two parts. First the analysis, and then an original PSA that you'll create. It is worth up to 30 points. That can be the difference between a B- and an A, or an A-, and it can improve, say, 3 assignments that way. So you'll definitely want to take advantage of this opportunity. The PSA assignment is based on rhetorical appeals, of which there are 3 kinds: logos, pathos, and ethos. These come to us from the Greeks. Aristotle identified those, logos as being a logical appeal through the use of facts, pathos being an emotional appeal, and ethos being an ethical appeal based on an appeal to justice or using the credibility of the individual because of the title or expertise he or she holds. The best of the PSAs and the other rhetorical appeals comes when you use all 3. What you'll find in your analysis, and maybe in the one that you write, is that you use 1, 2, or 3. It's not necessary to use all 3, and you won't find all 3 in every type of PSA. Let's look at an example. Back in the days when cigarette advertising was common, you could see an ad like this. So what are the appeals here? First, let's consider the emotions of the people there. They're all happy. This is an appeal to pathos. Now let's look at the older gentleman giving the cigarettes to the younger man. The older gentleman, because of his worldly experience, and maybe he's tried a lot of cigarettes, knows which brand is best. Thus, his ethos is part of the subliminal message here in the ad. Lastly, we have an appeal to logos through the headline and some of the other text. You can read the details of the analysis in the full-length presentation. So let's talk about the message. What is the main point being made? Every PSA has a main point, and essentially a thesis. And what is the author trying to convince the audience to believe or persuade to do? Think about that, and we'll look at some examples in just a moment. As you do your analysis, consider what exactly is the message. What's the topic? In the case before, it was quality cigarettes. Yours may be on something more important, a social issue, economic issue, political issue. What is the most important aspect or perspective on that issue? And again, what does the author want the reader to think, feel, say, or do? Here's one example, and you should watch the video in the full-length presentation. This is a PSA from the NFL, and it's titled "No More." Here's another one. This actually is from Florida. It was done up in Jacksonville, and it's about not texting and driving. And while we know there are a number of logos appeals, this one has multiple elements to it. When you do your assignment, you're going to choose a PSA of any kind out there. It can be a video, a radio spot, a poster, or an ad. And you're going to identify which one or ones of the elements are in that. You're going to then write an analysis and include a link to the PSA so that I can see it. In the second part, you're going to actually write your own PSA and explain how you used the rhetorical elements to get your point across. So your analysis of the PSA will be no more than 300 words. And then when you create the Word file that has everything in it, you'll put your name and PSA on that. If you're in the online section, the assignment is due April 23rd, and if you're in the in-person section, it is April 26th.